Good evening, everybody. Today is June 5th, and it is a special meeting of the School Building Committee. First item on our agenda is to review and approve request for services for a owner's project manager. And for those who don't know what that is, in case somebody's actually watching this, who isn't interested, that basically is somebody who oversees the project on behalf of the town of Millis. And what they would do is they would check all contracts and check to make sure that the subcontractors are doing their work. And basically they work on our behalf to make sure that the project is being run the way it's supposed to and we're being billed properly. Our committee oversees the overall process, but the owner's project manager gets into the nitty-gritty of making sure that things are done correctly and people are doing what they're supposed to be doing and we're being charged appropriately. So that's what we're talking about tonight. So I think the first thing I'd like to do is pass it on to Denise or Steve as the school committee, because this is their purview. And so I don't know who wants to speak for that, them.
I'm happy to go. Thanks, Rich. So thanks everyone for making time to come tonight. Kim had circulated the RFS that we have sent to the MSBA. They've provided a few rounds of feedback. Thanks to Diane and Jim for your feedback as well. So Diane, I've included yours on the select board. Thanks for that catch. Jim McCaffrey, I've updated the population numbers. Thank you to you for that catch. It definitely shows our growth, so very much appreciated. And then Jim Duffy, I took a look at yours and I think it's actually okay. It does read a little confusing. It's the MSBA's template. The date is underneath the paragraph that it relates to.
I saw Jeremy sent me a note saying that as well.
Okay.
So then I went back.
All right, super. Okay, great. So I think that that is all of the feedback that we got from various committee members. So I just probably 4 minutes before the meeting, sent Kim an updated version of all of that, along with sending it back to the MSBA. So for this evening, I'm happy to walk through the RFS if folks would like, or our job this evening is to ask the school building committee for a vote to approve the advertising of the request for services, because we need to provide a certified vote to the MSBA as part of the OPM selection process. So that's our task for this evening, but happy to take any questions on the RFS, or if folks would like to take some time to go through it live while we're here, happy to do that as well. So I guess, are there any questions on it? Maybe we can start there.
I'll go first, I guess. We don't ask about financials for these companies here, and maybe that's down the road. And looking at the MSBA website, I see like the same 6 company names. So it seems like they've all got a lot of work. But we don't seem to ask about financials, and maybe that should come later on. And then my second question, Lalisier, is we talk about a 25,000. Well, so we talk about a different, let me go back. We talk about current size, 125,000, and then we talk about a new building of 150,000. We don't say it explicitly. We say earlier in the RFS that it may be a renovation plus an expansion or addition, and then we say or new building. But then later on, so my basic question is where the 25,000, how do we derive at 25,000 square foot for the difference between now and the future?
In one of the facility studies that they did, that's what their estimation was for an addition.
All right.
So we just grabbed that number and put that one in.
Yep.
So that's that one. And then I just double checked. So in the criteria that we have for the evaluation criteria, It's on page 4 into page 5. The very, very last one that we have on that is financial stability. So we ask all of the respondents to provide us with a current balance sheet, income statement, evidence of their financial stability. So hopefully that covers the financial component of it. So it is one of the items that we will score folks on related to the RFS response.
All right, I didn't see it. Thanks.
Yeah. There's only 24 pages to this thing, right?
That's nothing.
Yeah. Right.
There's a nice org chart at the bottom, at the end there, a nice blue org chart. That's nice.
Yeah. The thing
I have a
to fill
couple of,
out.
Denise, it's okay with you, Rich. One is a general question. Now, to preface it, I know I had a lot of involvement in the other building, but I had the good fortune not to be involved in the selection of the OPM. So my question is on the evaluation criteria. I understand all of them, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of differentiation between one or the other. It's either a 2 or a 3. Is that typical? The score is either 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's what we did the last time through.
Okay.
So
So it worked.
It worked. Yeah, we sort of kept with the same approach to the last time through. So
Okay.
I literally just took the RFS from when we did Clyde Brown OPM, and I feel like we might have added 1 or 2 things to it, but yeah, I mean, it comes to a total of 35. It did work for us the last time.
Okay.
So
I guess that I was just looking at it and thinking, well, experience is much more important than something else, perhaps. And also the criteria that whoever you present to us better be the one doing the work. That's really important. But if that's model at work, that's fine. My bigger issue is the timetable.
yeah.
From my perspective, it's extremely compressed. I'm not sure what the right timetable is for the people to submit their response. It seems pretty tight, but I don't know. In other contracts I've been involved in, the timetable is pretty tight. I am concerned about the evaluation component, which seems to be pretty tight, particularly around the 4th of July weekend. Some evaluation is done, and then some people are selected to come in and get interviewed, and then the next day we're supposed to approve the selection. And there's nothing in here that says what this committee is going to do. It's just what the subcommittee has done. So I need to understand, and I understand that this is the MSBA's calendar that we're trying to address when they need stuff so that we can get on whatever it is. And I guess from my perspective, I've always thought that they're driving the bus, but I sure as hell would like them to stop and let somebody on and get off while we're driving along here. I have a big concern about the end dates here. I really think this is really precedent.
Okay, so a couple of things. So the end date is that August 10th date, and we have some flexibility, except for the end date is the date of the MSBA board meeting.
Right.
So if we want to get into the August board meeting, then we have to stay within kind of the dates that are in the document. We probably have 1 or 2 days that we could play with, but outside of that, not much. I have another list of dates that include all of the additional items outside of what's in the RFS, which I can circulate to the committee, which are like board votes and board updates and whatnot. So I can get that to Kim, so that she can circulate that. But I can say this: the amount of time that we're giving ourselves between responses due and responses shortlisted is twice the amount of time we had for Clyde Brown. Like, we really pressed it when we did Clyde Brown. We have more days actually now in this one. Same for notifying the respondents of being shortlisted and then coming in to talk to us. So I totally agree with you on the 4th of July. It's
well, I have to say that the one that jumped out at me is, okay, they're coming in, and I have some sympathy for bidders, but not a lot. I mean, if they want the work and they're good, they'll do it.
Yep.
But on the 6th, shortlisted people are coming in and being interviewed. And I assume that there's and that's why the subcommittee, there's some evaluation done. But in order for this to move forward with a recommendation, the full committee has to approve it. And the subcommittee can't just say, okay, we've selected number A and then we're done. We can't start negotiating with anybody until the school building committee has approved it. And I don't see anything in this timetable for that group. That's us. And, you know, I'm very uncomfortable with, you know, it all happens on one day, which is a Thursday, and then Friday we start negotiating. I just don't see how there's enough time to evaluate, or at least consider what the evaluation has been.
I'm just pulling up the dates over here. Respondent shortlisted, present top 3 to S. Okay, so the MSBA RFS is, sorry, let me get back over to the Zoom meeting. That would be helpful. Okay, I'm just going to
I did this crazy thing. I printed it and I'm holding it in my hand now so I can actually read it. Works really good.
I thought of doing that.
Did I
thought of
send you
doing that,
the
but
did I
thought,
send you the list of the meetings that, so because here's the challenge. All of those other things that have to happen, the MSBA doesn't want in their template. So like this meeting as an example. So what I didn't do, and in hindsight should have, is distributed the listing of all of the dates in totality, which includes this meeting, any votes that we have to have. Oh, and I have a typo in the RFS. So thanks again, Jim. The 7th is when I'm proposing that we present, the OPM subcommittee presents to the recommendation of SBC to receive and approve. The 10th is when we would negotiate with number 1. So I have a mistake in the RFS that I have to update. So let me do this. Let me just
can you say
send
that
them
again?
to you. Sorry. So on the dates that I worked out,
Yeah.
we would interview the shortlisted respondents on the 6th.
The question there, Denise, is who is we?
The school, the OPM selection committee.
Okay, good. Got that. That's what I thought. Then
Okay.
what happened?
Then the 7th is supposed to be OPM subcommittee presents recommendation to school building committee
Okay.
for approval to negotiate.
Okay.
Great
So,
catch. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I mean, that to me is, again, I'm glad we got it nailed. It's not enough time for the other members of the committee to evaluate and decide whether or not they're going to go along with the recommendation. It's a big item, and we have, you know, and it's a Friday, by the way.
Yep.
Well, I love Fridays. I'm happy to zoom in on Friday anytime you want.
The only challenge that we have is we have to have the final selection to the MSBA on the 12th.
If we are committed to the August meeting.
That
Right,
is correct. And so if there's concerns with committing to the August meeting, then we can certainly talk about that as a group and decide if we want to stay with August or move out to September.
Yeah, Denise, can I just jump in for a minute? So, you know, one thing I would say is that all of the people who would be invited to bid on this or would be coming from the MSBA shortlist, because we have to pick from there, are people that do this all the time. There's only a certain group of OPMs that are out there that do this stuff. And so, you know, we'd be choosing from a Mercedes, you know, a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. It's not like we'd be going from, you know, a Mercedes down to a Yugo. So I would say that to ease some fears, the choices that we'd be making, you know, it would be a slight variation of a decent subcontractor. So that would be the first one. The other one is there is also some stuff going on with some of the MSBA funding, which was in the Globe. And personally, I have a concern that we would want to try to keep our process moving forwards, just not knowing what any of that may blow up to. So that would be my two concerns on that is, you know, the OPM is going to be working on our behalf, and you know, any help that we can get will help us out overall in making sure the process goes correctly. So the sooner we get them on board, somebody on board, I would say the better off we are. That's my two observations.
Denise, you're muted.
Thank you, Diane. So to try and address Jim's concern and to still try to stay on the timeline that we have for August, we do have some flexibility to give individuals more time to move the OPM subcommittee presentation to the full SBC to, Monday the 10th. And just knowing that we give ourselves kind of a day and a half to negotiate, which is we only gave ourselves a day the last time with negotiating with the OPM when we did it, and it was done. I'll knock wood, I'll touch wood easily in that time period. So to A, not be on a Friday, B, to give the full committee time to review. So the way the process works is the OPM selection subcommittee will do the interviews. All are welcome to attend, but the subcommittee is responsible for doing the interviews, scoring all of the finalists, coming up with the recommendation, and putting them in priority order. So who ranked first and why, second, third, assuming that we go with 3, which is what we did the last time. So then our job is to bring that to the full committee to talk through why and what, and then for the committee to give us approval to start the negotiations. So from a review perspective, I'm not sure, outside of talking through what we saw at those live interviews. We can certainly make evaluation sheets available to folks at the close of the meetings on the 6th. But that's something that I just want us to agree upon as a group to make sure that we're getting everyone what they're going to need in order to feel comfortable to give us that approval on the date that we have the meeting. So,
I raised concern. So let me just respond. Given me some time to look at it is more valuable from my perspective than just trying to ram it through by Friday. But I understand other people have different points of view. I have the luxury, which not all of you share, of meeting any time of the day on Monday.
I think we could do Monday. I think we could do Monday night with no problem. I don't have concerns about the negotiation with the selected finalists for Tuesday into Wednesday. Like we have some time even into Wednesday to do it. But I know that when it was performed last time, I think they had a phone conversation and that settled it. So if everybody's in agreement, I'm happy to move it to Monday to give folks an opportunity.
I would prefer that myself, but I'm just one person.
Yeah.
I'll just add, if I can, it's whether or not it affects the dates, but that Monday the 10th is the one and only select board meeting in July. So I don't know if you need any specific action from the select board following that meeting. I would just need to know that to bring it back to the select board if they have to hold a special meeting later in July.
Okay. There is nothing in the MSBA rule direction that says that we need anything from the select board. At that point, it's just limited to the school building committee to give us approval to negotiate. So we're not signing contracts or anything like that. We're just negotiating. So we haven't gotten to any contract execution yet. So I think, thanks, Mike.
Very good.
But I'll double check. Doesn't hurt to double check. I'll ask, and to make it quicker, I'll ask Jen from the MSBA. She was out today, but she's back in tomorrow.
Well, the board has to approve the actual contract, but they don't
Right.
have to be involved in this. They don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the authority or responsibility to say, "Yep, this is the one we'd like to do it with," until we present it to them, I think.
Yep, I think you're right. But just to make sure, I'm happy to just ask Jen. So it sounds like we might want to move to the 10th, which works in the current timeline. Does anybody have any concerns with that? Are you okay with that, Rich? If we move from the 7th to the 10th? Okay, thumbs up from Rich. All right, so I will adjust to the 10th. I'll switch the 7th to the 10th, and then it should have been the 12th that we are, sorry, hold on, I'm gonna go to the MS. So this one will be, I'm just doing it live while we're here. Okay, so we're shortlisted respondents are getting interviewed on the 6th. We will meet on the 10th. We will negotiate on the 11th. We'll send to the MSBA on the 12th. Does that sound good for everybody? Thanks,
Sounds
Jim,
like-
for the thanks, Jim, for the feedback and for catching that. That's a huge one. So thank you. Any other questions?
All right, I think if that is been walked through, how was the thought on this? Should we vote on these, in your thoughts, either you or Steve, should we vote on these individually or together as a package?
I think we can do it in one vote.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so you want to run through the advertisement?
I sure do.
Oh, Jeremy, sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. So I see, thanks for your work on this, Denise. So I see in the central register, we have a $1.3 million NTE for this project. Is that in the RFS itself? Is the not to exceed in there, or is it just in the advertisement? I don't think I saw it in the RFS, but I am definitely willing to concede that I missed it.
Good question.
I thought it was, but
I thought it was too, but I thought it was in the area where I thought it was is where I'm staring, what I'm reading right now, and I don't see it.
Was that the 25-page document?
Yeah, there's no,
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
usually
response on, or no fines on not, the phrase not to exceed.
okay.
I
It's
just
fine.
think it
When
should be
you're-
somewhere in the actual RFS.
Yeah, I agree.
When you read the two documents together, you think it's there, but it isn't.
Can you find a town contract?
Yeah, good catch. It's not there. Or I don't find it. We talk about 18 to 45 million. We talk about projects estimated to cost in excess of 1.5, and then list all completed projects in excess of 1.5.
Okay,
Yeah, is the only-
I just added it to the introduction. Right
Thank you.
above where we talk about the total. Thank you. No, thank you.
And I'm not available the 7th, so yes, I'm glad to have this moved to the 10th. Thanks for that discussion. But that was my only comment. Thank you.
All right, great, thank you.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing the ad. I had the RFS pulled up. I didn't have the ad pulled up.
In the ad, it does say the will not exceed 1.3. So that's,
Yep.
I remember the same thing as I remember seeing that in there when I read it. I just couldn't remember which one it was on.
This close, of course, my work stuff. Yeah, does anyone have any questions on the ad? The ad it's fairly light compared to the other document. I'm just pulling it up just to make sure. Okay, so the 1.3, how to get it, when to get it. The fact that we're doing the tour. All the dates look right. Sorry, I'm just blowing through it myself one more time. Does anyone have any concerns or questions about the ad itself?
No.
Okay, Rich, I think we're okay on the ad.
All right, so we looked at the request for services. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. The ad says, questions, oh, never mind. I read that incorrectly. Sorry, carry on, Rich.
Okay, all good.
Denise, where are we doing the interviews?
I think we'll do them at the library again. That seemed to
We-
work okay last time.
Better make sure the room's open.
I'll check that tomorrow.
Okay,
Thanks,
Yeah,
Kim.
and the other thing, just for everyone, is that, you know, last time they did it, I actually wasn't on any committee and I went to those interviews. So obviously, you know, you were all more than welcome to come, and hear for yourself the presentation, because that was my first step into the steaming heap, was to actually go to those meetings, and then I get involved with this. So, you know, it is interesting because you can hear the people, you know, do their presentation, and you get a little more feel for the, you know, what they're about. Because at that point in time, they're trying to, you know, the same with the contract, they're trying to get your business, so.
No, I'm sorry, Denise. In the central register, I believe it says that, maybe we talked about this, I was late joining, but it says, applications are due June 21st, and the RFS, it says June 22nd.
Oh, there's an updated RFS, sorry, that has June 21st.
21st. Okay, great. All right, thank you.
I had 22nd, MSBA had us put it back at 21st. I thought we could go longer, but they asked me to pull it back to the 21st. So there's a, yep, that's been corrected.
All right, good. Yeah, I mean, when they pay for things, we listen to their suggestions.
Exactly right. That's right. Change the date, sure will.
All right, since we've reviewed the request for services, we've reviewed the advertisement. I make a motion that the committee approve both items to be used in the advertisement request for services.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. I have to do a roll call on this. Diane,
yes.
Denise,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
let's see, Aaron, I think you were, I can't remember who's on the, no, okay. So Jim,
Yes,
Jeremy,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and I'm an yes also, so it was unanimous. All right, so great. That, I think that was actually good. I'm glad everyone brought up all your points. I think that was, you know, obviously we learned a lot that, you know, from everyone taking a good peek at it. So I think that was great. So we have another meeting tomorrow night, Wednesday, sorry, I'm a little foggy. Jet lag. So anyhow, so I will see everybody on Wednesday. And once again, appreciate you guys taking the time.
thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all your
All right.
feedback.
Thanks for
All
your
right.
work
so
on
much.
this.
Take care.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.